Good morning. I think we had, is that Morris Financial Concepts? How are y'all doing?
We're doing great. Thanks so much for hosting this.
Good. Good. Sure, sure. Are you here in Charleston? Yeah.
Yes, yeah, we're over in Mount Pleasant. I'm a relatively new addition to the team as of about a year ago.
Okay, good to have you. I like your
Thank,
headset and you can hear much better, I'm sure. Yeah.
thank you.
Mm. Are you just wanting to learn about probate or did you estate planning or you lose someone?
I'm interested in learning about the process in general. I am a new financial planner. I'm a career changer. I used to be a forensic scientist with the federal government until about a
Yeah.
year ago. So the world of financial planning is something that I've been interested in for a long time, but professionally it's still new. I'm studying for my certified financial planner exam in November, and estate planning is a large part of that. So I'm just hoping to sort of get my head around this information a little bit more with a real live human being who's an expert in this field. And I'm
You're
also,
nice. I'm not sure about that.
yeah. Well, you're the closest thing I have at the moment. I'm new to Charleston, South Carolina as well. I grew up in the Northeast.
Okay. What part of the Northeast? Yeah.
I grew up in New Jersey, did school in upstate New York, downstate New
Okay.
York, Michigan for grad school, Virginia for the last 9 years, and South
You've been
Carolina
all
now.
over.
Yeah.
Okay. What part of New Jersey? I've got some family in New Jersey. Yeah.
Somerset County, Warren Township. It's kind of by Summit, Bridgewater, some of the closest cities. It's in central, north central Jersey.
Okay. And my aunt married somebody from Jersey, and they live in Vineland, that area.
Oh,
Bridgeton.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
South, I guess, more to Philly. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I remember I've driven through Vineland before.
Okay. And we got a couple others that have joined us. Good to have you. You have any special interest? Are you probating in the state or just want to learn about estate planning?
Just want to learn.
Okay, good. Well, any questions before we get started? We'll go ahead and get started. Well, it looks like just general knowledge of what most people are after. So, we'll
Oh,
go. Yes.
hey, this is Amber.
Hey, Amber.
Hey, I'm actually, my husband and I are in the process of learning more of what we can do to help with um, his parents, which both have dementia, and we're
Uh,
running into some challenges right now. His father is still the primary caregiver for his mother, but not quite ready to acknowledge the process of what's happening. So we're running into some trouble with safety in their house and things like that, and also helping to protect their financial status. So that's kind of what I'm here for.
okay. Hopefully they've done their estate planning, have a will, business power of attorney or trust or
They
healthcare power of
do,
attorney.
yeah, they do have will and things like that, healthcare power of attorney, um, but financially, his father is holding back on giving all the access because I think
Mhm.
um, he's just a little nervous about what will happen when he doesn't have that control.
Right.
So, yeah,
So that's common, and I understand. Yeah. You just got to realize that all of y'all are there to help them. So
yes,
our
that's
parents raised us, and then at the end, we have to care for them when they need the help. Yeah,
yes. It's challenging when it's not welcomed help.
yeah, that can be. Okay, we'll go through some things here. If anybody has any questions at any time, just let me know. Okay.
Thanks.
And sort of we'll just give you an overview of probate court. Probate court does a little bit of everything. We'll talk about estate planning for every family, talk about elder law, mental illness and alcohol and drugs affects all of our families. We'll talk about that. Guardianship, conservatorship, probate court has jurisdiction over adult guardianships, and we try to avoid that by the healthcare power of attorney. Conservatorship, if there's not planning, hopefully we have a business power of attorney and or a trust. And I'll give you some trivia and go from there. Here's another way to look at the different topics. You can see probate court, we touch a little bit of everything. We've got some problem-solving courts. We also do estate administration. And here's an organizational chart that can help you. I would note if you're probating an estate, the estate division, you'll note that we've got 5 estate clerks, and then each has ending numbers. So Amy has all cases ending 0 and 5. So if you're ever probating an estate, you can see what clerk is helping you from beginning to end. We do about 2,200 estates a year, got 3,500 open at any one time. So we're very busy in that regard. In our commitment division, we do about 2,000 involuntary commitments. We hope people will get help voluntarily, but if not, we've got the involuntary process. Guardianship and conservatorship, I mentioned those, about 1,000 of those cases. And then we have problem-solving courts. And on the right, we got marriage license. Hope everybody's happy with marriage licenses. And I grew up in customer service for the local department store and condoms. And so we try to get people directly to who they may need the help with. So you've got their direct dial number and you've got their email address. So you don't have to go always through a switchboard. We're located down at the Four Corners of Law. It's our bottom right is where state court is. That's our state divisions on the 3rd floor. Our commitment divisions on the brick building on the bottom right, and the mayor's office is on the left, federal court on the top right, and then the church, the highest law, is on the top left. And believe it or not, Robert Ripley gave it the name Four Corners of Law, and we've got a local descendant, she lives on James Island, so showing that one. I don't know if I should show this or not. We got some people from the Northeast. It's our historic courthouse right there. Anyway, we hope you don't do that. And they didn't cover their driver's license or license plate up. So they got a ticket and got arrested. So don't do that. Okay. The state capital of South Carolina used to be Charleston, in our historic courthouse before it moved to Columbia. It was done by an Irish architect named James Hoban, as you see on the right there. If anybody's Irish, been to Dublin, he modeled it after the Leinster House in Dublin. And then the model of our courthouse is on the table there. And then George Washington, president, is right there. He visited our city in 1791, liked the work that Hoban did. And Hoban ended up doing the White House. So when you see the White House on TV, it's a Charleston architect. On the left there, we're over in Ireland dedicating a monument. And you'll see there my son on the far left with the plaid pants. Their luggage didn't make it, didn't buy some luggage. And he's not sure what to do with the Irish girl there. But that was a nice day that day. All right, what's the highest basketball court in the land? Gamecocks lost yesterday. UConn really looked good. Final Fours tonight. It's the U.S. Supreme Court. Above the U.S. Supreme Court is a basketball gym. Made 2 shots and retired, so can't play. This is my mentor, Morris Rosen. Jamie has sent you things. We both worked for Mr. Rosen, very much a Southern gentleman. He passed about 10 years ago, but we all need mentors in whatever line of work we do. Amy, it is freezing up today. Doesn't want to work on a Monday. I want to go forward. See what else I can do. Anyway, the next slide I was going to show you, if it'll allow me to do it. It lets me go back, but not forward. I may have to come out and come back in. But we do want to talk about estate planning and the different documents. The first one that I would talk about would be a will. A will in South Carolina has to be in writing. It has to be signed by the testator or at the testator's direction. And you also want witnesses that are disinterested. If a family member witnesses, then the family member can only take the share that they would have been allowed to. Finally went forward. This picture of my mom in the church where she was married. And a year before this, she was in a hospital. And the hospitalist basically telling us it's time to let her pass, couldn't get her comfortable. Her back was terribly bothering her. We got an expert from the outside, came in and able to assist her. And she lived another year plus. And she made it to her grandson's wedding in the same church she was married. So always need somebody to advocate for us. Again, estate planning. I mentioned a will has to be in writing. This is a will that would be acceptable. It has two witnesses signed, basically one sentence, sort of a will. We never know when God's going to call us, and might be the list going to Costco over there, a grocery store. Here's 11 documents that I'd have you consider. We always want to start with a checklist and look at our source documents. We have a concept of what we call probate assets. Probate are those controlled by the will, or if you don't have a will, we have what's called the intestacy statute. The other assets are called non-probate assets, and they're controlled by third-party contracts. Examples are, say, a joint account with right of survivorship, a deed, which is joint with right of survivorship, life insurance or retirement account where we designate a beneficiary. So we want to start with a checklist, look at our source documents, gather that all up so when we meet with the attorney, we're organized. The different documents here we should all consider. We generally, number 2 and number 6, we want to have a will and we want to have a trust. A trust is a vehicle that allows us to protect and manage property for those who may not be able to manage it. The most common example is a minor. If a minor receives property, they are entitled to it when they turn the age of 18 out of a conservatorship. Can they handle it? Hopefully, but maybe not. So we put it in a trust, give them the ability to withdraw, say 1/3 at 25, 1/3 at 30, 1/3 at 35, with the power to invade for, say, medical reasons or educational needs. There's 2 ways to do it. You can have a trust inside the will, and that works for most South Carolinians. If you own property in a number of different counties or states, or if you want to use a living trust, you can do that. That's number 6 there. The attorney will also have you do what's called a pour-over will in the event that you don't put all of your assets into the living trust at your death. The pour-over will then add those to that living trust. The living trust can manage the property during your lifetime, and then when you pass, it can act as a will substitute. For a last will and testament, the person in charge is called a personal representative. It used to be called executor, executrix. In any of the administrative or dispositive provisions, you always want to have alternates. Never know who's going to die first, or if we nominate someone to serve, we're not sure if they have the ability to serve. So always have an alternate taker, alternate personal representative. You go through a series of devises in the will. One is concerning personal property. In the will that Jamie has sent to you, I believe it's item 3. You can see an example of a reference to a memorandum of personal property. That way you can do the will, and then if you change your mind who's going to get certain personal property, you simply change the memorandum without having to change the will. Also in the will that we've sent you, I think it's item 10, there is a trust, just a basic trust holding the property until age 25. A will, again, is brought to the court after someone's passed. It's not presented before someone's passed. On the other hand, we've got a financial or business durable power of attorney. This needs to be recorded at the Register of Deeds office to be effective. Power of attorney allows us to name someone to pay our bills if we're not capable of paying them. The beauty of the power of attorney is it avoids the conservatorship. One of the downsides, though, it's not regulated or there's no supervision of powers of attorney. So just make sure you pick someone that you absolutely trust to be the agent under the power of attorney. The agent's called the attorney. In fact, it's not really an attorney, it's a layperson serving as the agent. Number 4, we've got the healthcare power of attorney, and that allows us to name an agent to make healthcare decisions for us during our lifetime. And you'll see that the healthcare power of attorney that we sent you is a form document. It's right out of our code of laws, so it's the same for everyone in South Carolina. This allows the doctors, the nurses, the EMS workers to see the same document. The document does have great flexibility, so you can put maximum care or withdrawal care, or put it in your own words. Take a look at that document, very helpful. When we get to end of life issues, that's where we have the Declaration of Desire for Natural Death, also known as a living will. It deals with end of life issues. It is not a living trust, which it gets confused with. Living trust deals with property. Living will deals with making end of life decisions. And we've seen the cases, Karen and Quinlan, Terry Shivo. This one came about by a young lady named Nancy Cruzan, who was involved in an automobile accident, ended up in a ditch that had water. She did not have oxygen to her brain for several minutes. And that way, she had indicated she wanted to be kept alive in a vegetative state. The hospital's in the business of keeping us all alive. Case went all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court. They said you could withdraw the life support, but it needs to be in writing. So that's why we have the living will. There are safeguards in there. 2 doctors have to sign off on it. The document does have flexibility. You can have an agent to enforce it or an agent to revoke it. Again, get with your attorney on these documents and they can assist you. Number 7 there, the 5 wishes. That's a national document and it can replace the healthcare and living will, but it is out of Florida. If you Google 5 wishes, you can download it and use that document with the help of an attorney. I think it's $5 for the 5 wishes document. The DNR, the do not resuscitate order. This is near-death situations. I lost a brother to cancer about 8 years ago. He indicated if he was in a vegetative state, not vegetative state, but in that condition with the cancer about to take his life, that he'd had a DNR. So if he had a heart attack, he could go ahead and pass, not prolong, his dying process a day or 2. Similarly, we've got the physician's order for life-sustaining treatment. Some states call it a medical order for life-sustaining treatment, number 9 there. And again, it allows us to make statements regarding, how we want to be treated at the end of life. That's being piloted over at Roper St. Francis at the cancer unit. Other decisions we have to make, organ donation, we can help others. We can do that on our driver's license and our healthcare power of attorney and our 5 wishes concerning organ donation. Safe cremation has come around. We've got more and more people choosing cremation. It's less expensive. And I think it's about 75% of many of the business that the funeral homes have. Michael Jordan here with his dad, James Jordan. James Jordan was murdered in North Carolina. His body was dumped in a rural county in South Carolina. There was a national search looking for him. That small county did not have space to keep his body that was decomposing. I think they kept his hands and his jaw, cremated the rest of his body, and then realized later it was James Jordan's body that they had cremated. So our state and many other states stepped in. They did not have a safe cremation law and passed a law that before a body is cremated, you need authorization, either in those pre-need authorizations or by the personal representative or by the family members. And if you can't find family members, you have to have due diligence to try to locate the individual. And across this guy coming in from Maine. So he's being cremated. It's my last hope for smoking hot body. So, my battery is going low. I've got it plugged. I hope I don't lose you. It should work. I've had problems with my charger as of late on this laptop. They're great when they work, when they don't. This man got run over by a steamroller. See if I can. Look at the smile on this stuff. I don't know if I should get a little British humor. British humor. Anyway, got a buddy that's British, sent me that. And I almost got hit leaving our office one day down there on Church and Chalmers, Church Street there by the Dock Street Theaters, one way. They were taking out a dignitary that night. He almost hit me. It was King Charles of all people. So I waved to King Charles, and you never know who you're going to see in Charleston. Resources to consider for those that are taking care of our parents and grandparents. There's some that can help you. If you want to help others and they've had the ability to take care of their family, the local Coastal Community Foundation can help you with charitable giving at no expense. Of course, our churches and universities can do the same. One of the grants that they gave was for the Center for Heirs Property. If you know of someone that has heirs property, they can help get clear title to that property. The late Reverend Clemente Pinckney was instrumental in getting the right of first refusal. So before property is sold to a developer, the other heirs have a right to buy. They also do wills clinics, and they've got one coming up in October, but you can call up there. And I think on Thursdays, they will do a will for $50. Looking to select an attorney, talk to family and friends. Another way is through this service called Martindale Hubble or martindale.com. It lists all the attorneys in the country by location, by areas of practice, and you can see their academic credentials. You can see their pair rating, A being the highest. So that's another good service. We also have the South Carolina Bar that has a lawyer referral service and needing certain qualifications there. If you cannot afford an attorney, we have Charleston Pro Bono, and they will assist depending on the income level. Similarly, we've got the South Carolina Legal Services. And again, these, they do free will clinics. And we got a number of services out there that they can assist with. If you don't qualify for one of those, there's an organization called Charleston Legal Access. It allows individuals to retain an attorney, but not at the market rate, at a reduced rate. Show this slide. We just want families to work together. If not, the American Bar Association has a mediation program too. And then we have any military today. We have there's free military legal assistance. Keep that in mind. If we were in person, I'd be giving out a candy bar for those who can answer my trivia questions, and I'd give out a veterans treatment corn for those that have veterans in their family. If you're considering organ donation, it also relates to skin and tissue. The late Dr. McManus was instrumental in starting Donate Life. Again, we could do it on our driver's license, a number of places we can do it. They have a number of useful forms that can assist you. There's also Sharing Hope, located west of the Ashley. Anybody's been to Italy, we ran across this story. This California family lost their son. They donated his body for organ donation. Italy did not have such a program, and it changed the culture over there. And more Italians now are doing organ donation. Here's some other community resources. If you're dealing with Medicare, Medicaid, long-term care, health insurance, employment, there's a group called the Palmetto Project. They're located on Rivers Avenue. You can see their phone number there, their website also. They will come to your home, or you can set up an office appointment with them. Other good organizations, Trident Area Agency on Aging. Again, we've got this family caregiver support program. So if one parent is taking care of another parent, they can have a caregiver come in and give them a break if they need to go shopping or just need a break. So just keep that in mind. They have a number of programs. I direct you to their website and see what might help you. And then anybody who needs help, a newer slide we have is 211, and you can, sponsored by the United Way, and you can see the different informations that's available simply by calling or visiting their website. And we got the Department on Aging, and they also have a lot of support services in the senior area. And we've got an organization called Family Services that helps with those that need credit counseling or if they need fiduciary services. They're doing business as Origin SC. And many times the banks won't take a trust unless it's several $1,000,000. They fill a needed void there. For our veterans, we got the VA Caregiver Support Line. And here's one we ran across, Care Yaya. Yaya means Greek and Greek name for grandmother. They train and vet college students, and in our case, students at the College of Charleston, and you can hire them on an hourly basis to help you take care of a senior. And there's a number of other organizations out there, and if you just Google them, or if there's a magazine called All About Seniors that I'll show you that you can also use. This new license plate that you may see for individuals that get alarmed by, I guess, loud noises and sirens. This allows the officers to know that somebody that's autistic may be in the car and maybe not to use the siren and the lights and all. This is the magazine I was talking about, All About Seniors. You can pick it up about anywhere in Charleston, at the different doctor's offices, senior centers. Anyway, it's got a number of different resources in there and good articles that could assist you, helping you care for a senior. And if you're offering services, it's one place that you could advertise that would help you. This one says Directory of Greater Charlotte. Jim, I'll get you to add the one for Charleston that we have. And then we always recognize everybody take a ski vacation. And what we're saying there is spend the kids' inheritance. We never know when God's going to call us. So make sure you enjoy life, and we just never know. If we knew, we could spend our last dollar before we die, but we don't. So. And if the kids aren't being nice to you, or if you love your pet, you can leave your assets in a pet trust. We had 2 dogs in Charleston County, got $900,000 in trust. Another dog out on Kiowa got a home. So I always tell the high school and the college kids, you better be nice to your parents, otherwise they're going to leave it to the dog or the cat. So if they're not calling you, just tell them you're going to leave it to the dog or the cat. And we see many of these trusts. When the pet dies, the remainder generally goes to the SPCA. Wills, Probate, and Estate Administration, we may be in the, we're in the top 5% as far as probate law. We have a version of the Uniform Probate Code, generally 3 ways to probate an estate. And one is summary proceeding. That's when it's under $25,000, no real estate. You can open and close the estate 30 days after a person's passed. They're looking at this one. The law may change. It may go from 25,000 to 45,000. Typically, most of our estates are under what we call normal administration. And under that, we give notice to what we call interested persons. There's 3 groups in that: interested persons, people named in the will called devisees. We have to give them notice. People who would take, if there's not a will, and even if there is a will, you still have to give them notice. Those are called heirs. And we do that by sending a form called information to heirs and devisees. And then we give notice also to creditors, and we do that by publishing in the newspaper. Normal administration, because that publication runs once a week for 3 consecutive weeks. And the creditor's period expires 8 months from the first publication, or 1 year from date of death. So it generally takes 9 or 10 months to probate in the state. Our contested cases, we have fewer of those, but we have notice and hearing. And we also do jury trials, even though jury trials have kind of gone away, not only locally, but nationally. Last 30 years, when I first started, we'd have 4 or 5 will contests. 1 or 2 would go to a jury trial. The kids aren't waiting until mom or dad pass. So the battles now are in the powers of attorney, the trust, the joint accounts. Again, normal administration, generally a personal representative's duty. It used to be called executor, executrix. The personal representative's duty is to bring the will to the court within 30 days after a person has passed. After they're appointed, they've got 30 days to send that information to heirs and devotees. And then 90 days after the appointment, they send the inventory and appraisement in. They handle any credit claims that may come forward. Most have none. Most states have none. If they have real estate, the PR will end up filing what's called a deed of distribution. And then at the end, we can close the estate. If it's the sole heir, sole devotee, that can be done by a verified statement. If there are a number of heirs and devotees, you can send closing documents out. Excuse me. And they've got 30 days to come forward and contest, and that we'd send a notice of demand, of a right to demand for a hearing with the closing documents, which usually consist of the accounting and proposal for distribution, and then an application for settlement. So we got summary, normal administration, and then contested is where we have notice and hearing each step of the way. And if you're dealing with heirs property, we've got forms, or you can go online and figure out how to do your family tree. I know I'm trying to go the other way, trying to do some research on genealogy of family. When you do that, it goes back exponentially. It's hard, but it's interesting. All right, what's a laughing heir? Who wants to be a laughing heir? We all want to be a laughing heir. Found one laughing heir in 40 years of practice, and that was over in Mount Pleasant. And laughing heir is somebody who has a family member pass away, and they don't know about them. And then lo and behold, they get a check in the mail. You got a check for nearly $50,000. Didn't even know the family member. Very happy. He called the attorney out there in the Midwest and wanted to make sure it wasn't a scam. It wasn't a scam. So then he asked, well, when's the next check coming? So I think he's up to about 85,000. So he said his wife's spending on remodeling the kitchen. So you never know. Maybe there's a family member out there you don't know. And I would tell you to look at that unclaimed assets. So I've got a slide later. We'll show you at the treasurer's office. In probating an estate, and then now you had to come in person. You can still come in person, or you can use our e-filing. And we're open now 24/7. You can go to our different libraries, our senior centers. We're, as Jamie would say, accessible anywhere in the world except North Korea, and we're working on that. We got Dennis Rodman trying to help us, and so eventually we'll be everywhere. So you can probate anywhere. Easy filing, it's a $7 fee, a one-time fee, plus a convenience fee. So for less than $10, you can probate an estate without having to come downtown. You can file as many documents as you want for that fee, and then you can look at it online there. And if you don't have the equipment at home or a teenager to help you, you can go to one of our local libraries. We're up to 18 or 19 libraries. If you haven't been to libraries lately, I tell you to go just to see them. They've all been renovated. They're beautiful and very high tech. And so our county stretches all the way down to Edisto Island, just before the island, about 50 miles down there, or 50 miles up to McClellanville. So beautiful libraries, and they can assist you. And here you go. You can see where the different libraries are. And we've got a long, narrow county, and population more in the center. And I was up in North Charleston or Trento, did a workshop there, and just showing you that I can use a scanner and send documents in. Once you pay that fee, yeah, any other document you send, it's no charge. Here's the unclaimed funds. So we all should look at this. Probably every year we do our tax returns, and our tax returns, due April 15th. I'd pull those out and look at it. It's a nice site. Maybe you're not on there, but you find the family members on there. And you can see it'll disclose whether it's under or over $100. And then you can file for it electronically. You scan them documents, and then they'll send you a check. Again, I take a look at that. It's amazing how many businesses, instead of trying to locate us, are just going ahead and sending it to the state treasurer. So you may have a deposit, a refund from a premium, anything sometimes can be there. Trust and estates, what do we see in Charleston County? The Charleston Nine tragically died there west of the Ashley. I grew up with Billy and Randy Hutchinson on the West Ashley program. We found that most of them thought it was bad luck to have a will. And they're the ones running into the fire. We're running out. And so we're trying to make sure all our first responders at least have a will in assisting them. The Emmanuel Nine showed us that love conquers hate. We had no violence after that, after those murders. The late Reverend Clemente Pinckney's in the middle there. He was instrumental in getting that right of first refusal. And then the top right is Cynthia Graham Hurd. She's a librarian, and the West Ashley Library is named after her. Football, I guess the draft's coming up. Clay Matthews was a boxing coach at the Citadel. A lot of his family played in the NFL. They had to reform their trust, so they needed my autograph. Because my son always trying to collect autographs, I said they needed mine. We got the Masters this week. It's Masters week. We had a Charlestonian that won the Masters. He lost a son who was coming to see him play, I think in the Northeast, to a golf tournament in a tragic car accident. He did not tell his attorney all the details about his family. And so when he passed his will and trust, we had to reform that so that the children of the predeceased son also took a share. So very important when we're talking to our CPA, our financial planner, our attorney, tell them everything about our family so they can do planning for us. If you're famous, Sheila Joe Jackson was famous. He didn't sign many documents. He did sign his will. Filed it in Greenville County. Residuary beneficiary who was getting everything on the will. Wanted the original will because to a baseball collector is worth about $75,000 to have that signature on there. They sued the probate judge, went up to the state Supreme Court, who said that no, it stays with the court. So if you're famous, your will stay with the court. The countess started to split a very large estate benefiting our community, and she used a local attorney. And I'd always wonder if she found that attorney through Martindale Hubble. So consider that. You can name your trust anything. James Brown named his trust the I Feel Good Trust. So you can come up clever with you for your kids or whatever. Marriage license, anybody getting married? If not, run through this. We got a program called Love. And Love is live, online, virtual e-marriage application. So you can apply online, and we handle many from around the state because we're one of the few that have the online marriage application. There's a 24-hour waiting period, and we'll send it back to you. Jamie added this one. I didn't like the tone of your I do. No, Steve, you never know when it starts. Okay. And ran into Dr. Sanjay Gupta at Folly Beach. You never know who you're going to see in Charleston, who gets married here. Everybody's coming to Charleston to get married. They got married in Mount Pleasant. She lives on one of the Sea Islands. Footies. Uh-oh. It's going to jam on me. And we've got good signage at our county. We've got marriage license division on the right there. We got commitment divisions. So just keep that in mind. Okay. Civil commitments, again, alcohol and drugs affects all of our families, mental illness. We're always trying to get people the help they need. And we can do that. Hopefully they go voluntarily. If not, there's a civil commitment process. These hearings are closed to the public. We want people to get the help they need. And we go to the different hospitals. We do these virtually. And here's our different centers for mental health. We're blessed in our community to have a number of good resources here. And alcohol and drug and mental illness, two separate state agencies. And it's the same with the local agencies. We got the Center for Alcohol and Drug Abuse located on Rivers Avenue. And then we've got for our veterans, this Charleston private, Ralph Johnson, gave up his life jumping a grenade in Vietnam, saving his comrades. We've got a hospital named after him and a ship. And again, we've got a newer facility local in Berkeley County. Fentanyl, one pill will kill. It's amazing. We're losing too many individuals to fentanyl. Just keep that in mind. We got to tell our kids or teenagers, anybody, grown adults, about the powers and destruction of fentanyl. A local group, Nancy Shipman with Wake Up Carolina. She lost her son Creighton to an overdose there in Mount Pleasant, and she's been instrumental in trying to prevent further overdoses, particularly with the training for Narcan. And again, you can go to their Narcan training. It's almost like a nasal spray, cannot do harm. And under the Good Samaritan law, if you try to help somebody, you cannot be held liable. And they'll give you a certificate of completion once you do that prevention and Narcan training. Keep that in mind. Again, the involuntary commitment process, if you know somebody that's in trouble, we've got mobile crisis. So you can always call in if somebody's a danger to others and to themselves. We've got due process that takes place. We have to have an attorney that looks after their legal rights, guardian ad litem after their best interests, 2 designated examiners, court hearing, and then the role of the judge is to give them the best treatment in the least restrictive setting. And you can see the type of orders that may be issued there. We've had some cases come through way back when, and we're trying to get people the help they need. With Alice Bolin, we almost had a Sandy Hook. She had a gun outside the all-girls school there. But now they're reported in NICS to try to prevent them from getting a firearm. I think if we can just ask people how they're doing and reach out to people. I ran across this sign down in Tulane when I was visiting New Orleans. And again, there is help. We've got a suicide crisis lifeline. We've got mobile crisis that comes out before they do a commitment. They'll call the court and get approval to take somebody into custody. And we're losing too many veterans to suicide. We've got a crisis line there. We also, for our civil commitments, we've programmed court-assisted treatment, trying to keep people involved on the civil commitment side, keep them engaged. And we find that incentives work better than sanctions. So if we can give them praise and them come to court, it can be very helpful. We have 4 problem-solving courts that have started. I went down to Miami to bring the adult drug court back. Freeze up again. Judge Goldstein, who was a Brooklyn cop turned lawyer turned judge, was kind enough to come up. I went and visited him in Miami, came up and helped us start it in Charleston. I went out to Seattle to start a mental health court, and ran and met Judge Russell at a conference, and we started our veterans treatment court. And we do commencements at the end. We give incentives such as a certificate for graduation. The participants also required to pay back restitution. They're not always the smartest. Brian was breaking into a house, and the house happened to belong to Chief Mullen. And so I broke into the police chief's house. Fortunately, the chief was not home. Brian's still alive. And here he is paying restitution back. On the far left-hand picture, you'll see Judge Brucey Hendricks there. She's a federal court district judge, came over and she started a federal drug court. And she runs the opioid task force. I'm trying to keep people safe. And they have a overdose surveillance. I'll touch on conservatorship and guardianship. If somebody does have a substance use disorder or mental illness, you can also establish a conservatorship guardianship to protect their assets and to protect them individually. Again, it's a legal action for an alleged incapacitated person. We want to avoid this by, in most cases, by using the healthcare power of attorney and appointing an agent or using a business power of attorney to appoint an agent under a durable power of attorney. And that would avoid the guardianship conservatorship, they use the power of attorney. And again, conserve. We got about 1,000 of these cases, and hopefully with proper planning, one of the main reasons we do these workshops is to get people to do their planning to avoid the guardianship and conservatorship. And there's certain reporting requirements, and then we have to do a bond. We also check to make sure the conservator is not improperly spending the money. And a lot of our seniors are getting scammed, so keep that in mind. There's a number of resources, particularly at our police departments, that can assist. And we also, we check on our wards under guardianship, our citizens under guardianship. We were selected with Maricopa County and Phoenix to pilot this program, which has been very successful. And we train law students at the Charleston School of Law to go out and check on our wards. And the national model we did for our conservatorships, along with Detroit, checking in real time the expenditures of conservators' assets. And we've got a number of senior advocates, and if you have vulnerable adults, a vulnerable adult is anybody over the age of 18 and older in South Carolina. Some states it's 50 or 55, and in South Carolina it's 18. Many are located at the police departments. Some are at like the mayor's office on aging, and then some, if there's not an incorporated area, we've got the county, Charleston County Sheriff that would cover that. Here's a useful app for you, smart911.com. It allows you to put up your information into this app. And then if EMS is coming to your house, they'll know your background information, your medical needs, your medical concerns, what medications you're taking, your next of kin. You can even put your pets on the information they provide. For Charleston County, it is a free service. And we give these free workshops up. And Jamie's recorded some of them. If you can't sleep at night, you can watch me again. Don't provide the popcorn, but you can watch them again. And we get in more detail on the state administration. Again, the free workshops, or if you've got a group that we go to the local libraries. And if you haven't been, like I said earlier, the libraries are beautiful now. They've got community rooms at each one, and we hold in-person workshops also. And we're wrapping some up. We've been to, I think, from Edisto to Flowersville to Mount Pleasant. Just screen this, you can see the next one's coming. And then we've got workshop videos that Jamie has put together. And here's some of my ski trips. I'm spending this money, and so you want to enjoy everything. We went out west during right around after the pandemic was ending. I think when I made it over to Ireland and Scotland and gave them a portrait of James Hoban, and made it down to Panama. My dad served in World War II. I thought it was going to be a poor country, actually a very wealthy country. About 30 or 40% of the ships that come through Charleston go through the Panama Canal. It's about $1 million to $1.3 million toll to get through the Panama Canal. And you can spend a day on the canal. Very interesting. It's actually constructed by a South Carolinian. A Gilliard helped build that Panama Canal. And then we made it to Italy. I hadn't been there, and so I had to see it. So never know when God's going to take us, so go see some things, yeah. And I go through a sample estate file, or better yet, maybe stop and take some questions, or tell me what I need to add, or tell me what I need to delete. Some of these jokes are too bad, yeah.
Keep the jokes.
Keep the jokes, okay.
Keep the jokes.
We're
Keep it
trying.
light.
Keep it light. Here we go. Death and dying is a big thing. That's what that Aging with Dignity came up with the 5 wishes. Because what are the 2 certainties in life?
Death and taxes.
Death and taxes. We always talk and complain about taxes, particularly April 15th coming up. But we never talk about death and dying. So the aging with dignity. And what's the nickname for South Carolina? We're the Palmetto State. What's the nickname for Florida?
Sunshine State.
That's not an elder law. It's known as God's waiting room. I've got two sisters down there. I don't know if I should say that one or not, but
That is funny.
yeah, there we go. Questions, concerns?
I do have a question. I was looking in
Sure.
the list of documents that we were sent, and I didn't see one that looked like an example trust. Did I miss that? Is that somewhere?
We did not send that one. The only trust we would have sent was the one inside the will, and I think that's item 10. And that's
Okay.
just a basic trust. Yeah.
Okay.
I probably would get you with an attorney. Please do not use LegalZoom or any of those other ones out there, or if Connor's department store was still in business, I wouldn't tell you not to buy their will kit. Go to an attorney.
Gotcha.
And with Mother's Day and Father's Day coming up, your kids can pay for the estate planning. The attorney's duty is to the person they're doing the planning for.
Is there, how much does something like that cost?
It can range from $500 up to $3,000 and $4,000.
Okay.
It depends. Yeah, it can. It varies.
Okay.
You are the consumer, so get a quote. Talk to family and friends,
Sure.
and you can look at Martindale and see.
Okay.
And yeah, you're the consumer. Get a good price, and many of them charge by the hour. Some charge flat fee.
Okay.
Figure out what's best for you. There's a number of ways to do estate planning. You have, the probate assets going through the will, or the intestacy statute, or you have, non-probate transfers, life insurance, the joint account with right of survivorship. It's very important to see how you own the property. And there's a number of ways to get where you want to get. There's not one set way. It's personal preference there. Yeah. Some attorneys, all they do are trust and tell you to avoid probate. Others will do a will with a trust inside of it. Most South Carolinians, if you're looking at the cost of doing the estate planning, are fine with a will and then a trust inside. Make sure you have a trust for minors, whether they be children or grandchildren. If you own property in a number of different counties or states, then arguably the revocable trust it may be more cost efficient, but you got to spend the money up front to transfer all of your property into that trust name. But it can be helpful. It can manage property during your lifetime. And if you become incapacitated, you can still manage it. And then at death, it can act as that will substitute. But there's pros and cons.
Thank you.
But our fees in South Carolina are not like California and New York. So our probate fees are not what you expect in other states. Yeah.
Hey, this is Amber. I did have a question.
Sure.
My husband and father-in-law have started the estate planning with a lawyer. And Amy, I was gonna
Okay.
let you know, I think they charged a 2,000, it was a female, she charged a 2,000 flat rate for the service. And I can't remember her name. She's located off Long Point Road, I believe, in Mount Pleasant. But I did have a question. So my father-in-law, he is really not ready to give up a lot of control of his information, financial and things like that. I mean, he does have
Mhm.
a living will, and they're starting to get his estate planning in order, but he agreed to do that to protect his finances since my mother-in-law will likely need a nursing home or memory
Mhm.
care unit. Let me correct myself. A memory care uh, you know, setting at
She
some
may
point
need it.
in the near
Right.
future.
Yeah.
So he's trying to put all of his money in a trust, the irrevocable trust, I think you were saying.
Right, he may be doing some type of trust to avoid,
The revocation.
if she can do like qualify for Medicaid or.
That's what
um,
he's trying to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would defer you to the attorney. Some individuals do that. If you have assets not in your name, then the government would pay for that nursing home care. And there's certain look back periods as far as when you transfer things out of your name. I would defer to the attorney on that and
Yes.
figure that.
She,
But that
yeah.
generation many times does not want to share information with with their children, which is not uncommon. That's
Yeah.
fine. The main thing is to get them to an attorney and let the attorney do the planning. And many times children don't find out until the parents pass, the extent of the planning or the extent of the assets. Yeah.
Yes, so they are planning for that, but what we really have seen is that my father-in-law's dementia is progressing, and he's making decisions that are very erratic sometimes with his finances, just regarding the stock market or ordering things online. Last year, he agreed to buy solar panels for $48,000, and then I had to call about that. So he's over the past year has really been making some challenging decisions. And then he's also in charge of the care that my mother-in-law receives regarding a caregiver. He'll only allow, a certain amount of days, a certain amount of hours when she really needs more. Um, we've spoken with his neurologist who said he's not able to make good decisions, but now we're just like, we don't know what to do with that. I had thought maybe the conservatorship would be the way to go, but it sounds like you say the healthcare
Well,
power of attorney.
if he could give up those rights and realize the condition that he's in,
He would never
that would be the
agree.
best way with the planning. But if he won't agree, it's not uncommon for us to see and have a conservatorship and guardianship action, even when people have done the planning they need to do. Because if he's not going to give it up or continue to make unwise decisions, then he may need the protection of a conservator and a guardian.
Yes.
That's unfortunate. Yeah.
Okay. So you
I
don't
don't
think the
know if he,
healthcare power of attorney would cover that?
well, the healthcare power of attorney would allow him to designate who's going to make healthcare decisions for him. And for, I guess it's your mother-in-law also, if she had had one prior to her dementia. Yeah, if she had those, then that would avoid the guardianship. The conservatorship, again, could be avoided by the trust or by the business power of attorney, financial power of attorney. But if they
Okay.
won't give up, or if they still continue to try to act, then you may need to, have a conservatorship and have a guardianship. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's unfortunate, but that does happen.
Yes.
If there's somebody, how do I say it? You want to be the good cop. If there's somebody can be the bad cop and say, hey, that's what you need to do, and he would agree, that would be the way to handle that. Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that might be the attorney or someone else in the family or a friend or something to that regard.
Mm-hmm.
It's all difficult because the
It
parents
is.
don't want to disclose the financial information to the children. And then they think the children are just after their money, but you're really there trying to protect them, not to buy, $50,000 in solar panels or,
Yes.
I had one friend that had dad raised 6 kids, mother passed. He then had dementia and an empty nest. If anybody called for money, if they had anything as far as military, he's given $50 to $25 away to 100, ended up giving like $30,000 away.
Oh, wow.
You got to watch for those scams, right? So
Yeah.
sometimes they may need the protection of a conservatorship and guardianship.
Yeah. We've noticed any mail that comes to the house, he's happy to send checks to all sorts of funds that are out there.
Yeah,
So,
and those groups out there the good ones would be accept just, the initial donation. Others will just keep escalating it,
yes.
unfortunately.
Mhm.
But if you run across that where they are getting scams, the local police departments can help. Yeah.
Yes. Would you be able to give me this? I don't know if you could give me the next steps that we would need to take, to kind of put that more into motion. I think that's what's keeping us from moving forward is just not having the right steps. We've met with the doctor, he's meeting with the estate planner, but it's really not about my father-in-law's lack of decision making. It's really more to protect his finances when my mother-in-law needs help. He doesn't agree that anybody needs to have any control over any of his stuff.
Right, that's a tough one. That's is even harder sometimes taking the driver's license away. I don't know if he's driving or not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a
um,
50-50 on that one. I don't think he'd ever give that up willingly,
okay.
but really it's more about making sure that they have their finances protected, and then my mother-in-law has safe care, which we think that she'll need a memory care place to live sooner than what he will agree to. So we really need to be the ones to make that decision because he really can't and won't.
Mhm.
And she's not getting very good care at home.
Yeah. How many, I guess, can the children sit down with dad and try to talk to him? And
He's a very unreasonable man. Before even
Mm.
dementia, obstinate defiant disorder. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yeah. It's
Diagnosis.
also that generation. They think you're after their money. You're trying to help them, not get it stolen from them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Let me think more on that. If you send in your information to Jamie, I'll think more on that one. But I
sure
think
will.
if somebody could talk to the estate planning attorney and just say, hey, these are our concerns. Can you help us? Can you put something in there where maybe you as the attorney check on him and see where he stands? I guess he's got an accountant or CPA that helps him also.
Oh, he just did his taxes through H&R Block for the last 2 years this week.
Yeah, I would, if you can get the team together and say, hey, let us know when we need to step in, and maybe y'all can talk him into allowing the family to help. Yeah, it's all tough. It's a tough call there. Eventually, sometimes people start a conservatorship if he, is losing money and can't
Yeah,
manage it and won't recognize the powers of attorney or still continues to act. Um, Sometimes you do need that conservatorship to let third parties know that he doesn't have the capacity to enter into contracts. And
yes, okay.
conservatorships generally are generally limited, so we try to give them the greatest independence, and they still have the right to vote. Probably handle small amounts of money. Sometimes we'd give them $50, $100 a week. Nothing that it's going to decimate them.
Yes, okay.
So that's what we try to do is give them the greatest independence. We've had people that we've taken the driver's license away, but they lived in a gated community. They could drive the golf cart. Or the guy had a farm and he could drive the old truck on the farm, but the farm had fences all around it. So he wouldn't get out and hurt, third parties. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's hard. We all are going to face that, even ourselves. We got to consider when we're going to let others
Yeah.
make the call for us. Yeah. But with Uber and all these other ride share, a lot of things are easier. Um, it can be easier. Yeah. But there are people out there trying to take people's money, so you got to watch that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or sell them stuff they don't need. Yeah. We had somebody under conservatorship that bought a car, and we had to tell the car dealership they don't have the power to buy that car, and so they had to take the car back. So, but when you talk to some people with dementia, some are very high functioning, and particularly in the morning, they may appear like they have the cognitive ability to do what they're doing. Yeah.
Yes, it's very similar for him.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You're in a tough position there. Yeah. But
All right. So
somebody's
we'll
got to
talk
step
with,
in and protect him. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so we'll talk with the attorney regarding that, and we'll just need to get the letter from the physician then. The physician said he's happy to write a
Yeah.
letter stating
Right.
that.
Guardianship can be done on an ex parte basis with a doctor's statement. Conservatorship, you generally have to have a preliminary hearing before we issue temporary conservatorship. And he would be appointed an attorney to protect his legal rights. We'd have a designated examiner that would also have to uh, show what ability he has or doesn't have. And then we're always
Okay.
looking for limited guardianship of conservative, trying to give them the greatest independence.
Oh,
And
I
there's probably
agree.
18 different things. Maybe he can't enter into a large contract, but maybe he can handle, small sums of money. Different things. The right to vote we probably generally give. Driving a car, we're going to set up some framework where he has to be able to pass a driving test at DMV, but try to talk him out of, have somebody else drive you. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yep. I
he's
went through it
still,
with my parents for always. It's tough. Yeah. It's not easy.
yeah. Thank you.
I hope that's helpful. I know I didn't give you an answer, but hopefully that's helpful.
It
Yeah.
is.
I think talk to the individual first. If that doesn't work, talk to the attorney. If they will talk to you to a certain extent, they generally will listen. They may not give you any communication back as to what their client wants, but if you can at least talk to them and say, hey, just want to voice our concerns, and this is how we see it. He may be telling you something else. Yeah.
Yeah.
Attorney may or may not be able to talk to you regarding that, but they can at least listen to your concerns. Yeah. And then you'll have to talk to an attorney to bring, conservatorship guardianship action. Yeah. But it is good that he's at an attorney at least, so that's helpful. Yeah. Other questions, concerns? Yeah. Who's going to win the basketball game tonight? I don't know. So,
I don't have an answer to that question, but I did have one of
yeah,
my own. For
sure.
the big checklist of documents that we talked at the beginning, which one of those require formal recording and witnessing to be effective, as opposed to this is something a person can write down on a piece of paper and sign?
Yeah, the only document, good question, only document that needs to be recorded is that business or financial durable power of attorney.
Okay.
That's the only one, and that's recorded at the Register of Deeds office. It's called durable because it's still effective even if a person is incapacitated. That's the one. The will is presented to the court, within 30 days after somebody passing. But we no longer accept wills prior to somebody passing. A
Okay.
trust or a memorandum of trust will also be recorded at the Register of Deeds office once you set up a trust or the revocable living trust. Yeah.
Thank you.
The other advanced directives, they should be given to your primary care physician. Uh-oh. Yeah, that's the
Thanks.
whole. Okay. All righty. I think people got to run. Hopefully, if you got other questions, you've got my direct dial contact number. Give me a call or email. We're here to help you. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you
sure.
very
Jamie, thanks
much.
for setting this up. All righty. Take care.
Thank you
All
so much.
right.
Sure,
Bye-bye.
sure. Bye-bye.